Good afternoon, America. My name is Dr. T, and I'm back at it again with the latest and greatest tea and scoop with our local grassroots entrepreneurs. Today, as you can tell by the title, we will be discussing rebuilding your life, empowerment, and success with our special guest. A little bit about me. I do have a finance background, and I also own a business consulting practice where I assist people basically by empowering them to recognize their entrepreneurial visions. And today, our special guest, she is a women's empowerment motivational speaker, a two times best-selling author, and she is also known as the Rebuild Coach and also the Affirmation Whisperer. Her name, Karan Fairweather.
Hello. I
Hi.
don't know. For some reason, I can't see my screen. StreamYard is being very nice right now.
Oh, you still can't see it?
Mm-mm,
Oh, wow. Let's How about now?
mm-mm. I don't think it's on your side. I think it's on my side.
Okay, yes, because I can see you. I can see you just fine.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to move forward as if I can see you because I don't even want to delay the process anymore. But thank you for having me here. I'm so grateful to be a part of this community with you and to share some time with you today.
Hold on 1 second. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Before you were a little bit muffled, so I can hear you so much better now.
Oh my gosh, StreamYard is not being very nice to me at all today, but that's okay. We're still going to move forward. So, again, I want to say thank you for allowing me to be here and to share with your community.
Yes, and thank you for being a guest on my platform. So, without any further ado, if you don't mind, we're just gonna jump right in. And
Yes.
so I do have a little bit of an icebreaker segment. So the first question is a blast from the past. What was your childhood like and where did you grow up?
So let me answer the latter question first. I was born in a little city, little agricultural city called Pahokee, Florida, and that is west of Palm Beach County, Florida, where a lot of agriculture, sugar cane, all kinds of vegetables, etc., are grown and harvested. That's where I grew up until my family and I moved further east to the mainland, if you will, of Palm Beach County, Florida, which I stayed there until my adult years. And after that, after many years actually, relocated to the Atlanta area where I am at now.
Okay, yes, I'm a Florida native and I have never heard of would you say
Pahokee,
this is my first time hearing about it.
Pahokee, Florida, Belgrade. You may have heard of Belgrade or Fort
Yeah,
Myers,
I've heard
right?
of Glade and Fort Myers.
Well, Pahokee is a little north of Belglade, a lot smaller than Belglade, but it's a little city called Pahokee that is where I was born in this city, in the hospital, Pahokee General. And my growing up, my childhood was simple, very simple lifestyle. My grandparents were they worked in agriculture until years later. My grandmother became a school bus driver, and then when we moved back further east to the mainland, Palm Beach County, my parents were blue collar workers. So very simple childhood.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
we do have someone who tuned in, Mosaic Sparks, otherwise known as Leslie George. Hello, good afternoon.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
So, the second question, we're going to bring it back to the present.
Mhm.
What is the biggest challenge you face right now?
Ooh, the biggest challenge I face right now, I'm at beginning my second act. I am beginning my second act. I am 60 years old. Very proud to say that. I'll be 61 in about 7 days. So my birthday is coming up very soon. And I'm at a very unique spot in my life where I have an opportunity to start a new career or to dig deeper into my business. So right now, my biggest challenge is letting go of what was, and not in a unhealthy manner, because when you've worked at a place for so long, you have a routine. Monday through Friday, you do this, and on the weekends, maybe something else, and you have that expectation. So it gets ingrained in you, right? It becomes very routine. But now, not being in that career anymore, having an opportunity to, like, as I said, do a different career or something different, the challenge is understanding that I absolutely can do something new in this second act, as I call it. This second act can be anything I desire it to be. So keeping my mind open to the possibilities, keeping fear at bay, because false evidence appearing real, those things that we want to make real that haven't even arrived yet. Yeah, keeping that stuff at bay. So that would be my biggest challenge right now, but it's also a good opportunity.
Yes. And then we have a Kim James that tuned in, and she said, "Cheers for the second act."
Yes.
And my final question for the icebreaker segment: what is one dream that you have for the future, and where will you be in about 10 years?
Oh, girl, that's a great question. So, my what do I want is a question that I clarified for myself several weeks ago, actually, in this second act, as the affirmation whisperer, as the woman's empowerment speaker, the I can help you to redefine your life. I have all these things that I do, but what is it that I truly want? I want freedom to go, see, do, have as I wish. I want unlimited resources, right? Unlimited resources so that whatever it is I want to do, just swipe the card or tap the account and go do that. And I also want to be authentic in all that I do. That's what I want my future to be right now and going forward. And where will I be in 10 years? God only knows. I'm open to anything and everything that serves me well. Let's be clear on that. That
Mhm.
serves me well. I may be on the other side of the world, right? I may be a nomad. I may be traveling the world and be in a different place every other month. And I am absolutely open to that. In 10 years, I see myself as being a little more established in this second act than I am right now. But as a rebuild coach, you experience your business before you can give your business to someone else, right?
Right.
So having this second act, I am literally in the process of rebuilding. And we go through that at different stages of our life. I've had to rebuild before under different circumstances, far less desirable of circumstances. But yet I rebuild back then, which is why I call myself the rebuild coach. But now I'm having opportunity to apply all those strategies and concepts that I share with my clients. I'm able to apply them to myself in this second act. And who knows? I'm excited. I'm looking forward to where I'll be in 10 years. But I can't tell you where I'll be in 10 years. So
Yes. So, do you have any words of encouragement for some women that may be scared to go into their second act, or may be considering it, but they don't know? Or
yes, I do. Trust yourself.
mm,
Trust yourself. Women and men, but we're talking about women right now. When you're in your second act, that means you have experienced a lot. You've learned a lot, right? You have evolved, you've become over those years. And now you're at a point where you want to or have to rebuild, start again, start this second act. Most times it's a want to, because I'm definitely a want to, although my circumstances serve me that I must, but I desire it more than it's a must. So trusting what I know. um, any of us here on the LinkedIn community, we know about this. We've seen the post about applying for jobs, and I have been. Don't know if that's what I am to do, but that's what I've been doing, applying for jobs. And in the interview process or applying for jobs, you've done that work before, but the whole process now is so much different than it was 20 years ago. I haven't had to apply for a job in over 20 years. But now, here where I am, I know what I can do. And it's critical for me to believe in myself, trust myself and my decisions, because I'm not 25. I am not 25 years old at all. I have a plethora of experiences that I can tap into. And as I begin this second act of my life, keeping myself focused on that, let nothing take away from my experience. Leslie George, I heard her say once before that there are certain individuals that may come into your industry, but your experience allows you to run circles around them. They haven't lived long enough to know what you know, not to take away from their bandwidth, but
Right.
being in this second act, trusting yourself is critical. And then not letting fear keep you from seizing opportunities. Now we
Mm.
do things safely, right? But don't let fear say, oh, I'm too old, or this or that. No, you're not anything but who you are. And that's an amazing human being who's been through some things, who knows some things, and can apply it accordingly to whatever the opportunity that presents. So that would be what I would say.
Okay. Um, I wanted to ask a little bit about your background and your early career progression. So, how did you begin and kind of get your start in hospital revenue cycle industry?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So, you're asking me to go back now. So I'll keep it brief because you're talking 20 years. So initially at doing that rebuild stage of my life, right, I decided to get out of government and go into private sector. Fortunately, I knew some people and was able to get into a company that offers revenue cycles for hospitals. I started out in an entry level position, talking to patients up front, but I knew that at this place I could grow and do more. Ultimately, after changing roles a couple of times, and I changed roles maybe every 5 years, I had this thing that at the fourth year, I'm starting to look for a different role. So by the fifth year, I was into a different role. And for the most part, that's exactly how it happened with this organization until I got into training and development. So training and development, because I have a love for teaching and instruction and coaching, mentoring. I have a love for that. So finding that role that really suited my skill sets was a dream job. Dream job. So getting into that really was by chance because I knew someone. But after getting into this company, I saw the possibilities of growth, being able to get into a role where I was able to lend to my skills, my talents, my abilities, and also do something else that the role offered me was to travel. I've been to like 38 of the 50 states, but
Wow.
yeah, literally, it was amazing. I loved it. But more so, I was able to tap into my gifts and share with others. I can give you so many stories of women that were at that second stage, and the company I was with had acquired their hospital. Anybody know about acquisitions? There could be lots of changes, but being able to interact with those, mostly women, some men, but interact with them and give them a sense of safety during my training classes, give them a sense of belonging. Because with computers, a lot of them never had to use a computer before, and having to use a computer for the first time, this new company coming in, and this young woman, and most of them were much my senior, but I have an ability to bring peace and calm to people. And with that ability, I was able to give them peace and be able to extend to them my talents that God has blessed me with so that they can continue on. So, and I have thousands and thousands and thousands of women and men that I have interacted with over these 20 years. And that again lends to my experience that, listen, I'm very grateful for what I was able to do. And I look forward to taking all of that with me into my second act.
Yes. Okay, so that brings me to my next
Hmm.
question. Were there any challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them?
So this speaks to me being the rebuild coach, the women's empowerment speaker. So I married relatively young. I was, well, maybe some people may not see it this way, but for my young inexperienced, that's the word I need to say. Relatively inexperienced, around 20, I think it was something like that. 19 to 20, I got married to a man much my senior, and he had a lot of healing to do himself unbeknownst to either one of us, because again, I was very, inexperienced, naive, not knowing much about the world. Um, Unfortunately, the relationship was not a great relationship. His way of living life was to bully, was to manipulate, was to abuse emotionally, physically, spiritually, every way you could think of. And me being as young as I was, and I again, let me be clear, I'm not throwing any blame because we all make our decisions, right? However, having experienced so much trauma, I lost who I was. I was so busy trying to be the perfect, as if that exists, right? The perfect wife in my youngness. I didn't even know what being a wife meant. I knew I was married, I was dedicated, right?
Right.
But I didn't understand what being a wife truly is about. I didn't understand me, let alone the role of a mother, the role of a wife. I didn't understand any of that. And I don't think he truly knew what being a husband was either. So think of that mix, right?
Right.
So lots of trauma, lots of trauma. And who I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision. And some of you may have heard this story before. Um, I remember 2014, 15. I was standing out in my bedroom looking out the window, just kind of, gazing and reflecting and such. And I said to myself these words here: there's got to be more. There's got to be more. There's no such, this can't be it. Just waking up every morning, doing whatever I do, go to bed and wake up and do it again with no anything to come of it, no purpose, no gratification in what I was doing. In that statement, a whole world opened up to me. First, how do I heal from everything that I've been through? I have no I don't have any value in blaming anyone else other than myself. I hold myself solely responsible for what I experience. Neither one of us had an understanding of what it took to be in a relationship with children ourselves. So I don't blame anyone. Because of the experience, I am who I am today. But understanding at that point, that was a pivotal point for me, that how do I rebuild? How do I heal? Let's start healing first. How do I do that? So talking to people. Well, let me start from the beginning, praying and asking God for what it is I desired. I didn't even realize you could do that. I didn't realize you can ask God for what it is you desire. I had no idea you could do that. Because we have this routine of going to church and we hear the preacher, we read the Bible, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I didn't have a true understanding that I could ask God for what it is I desired. And what I desired was peace.
Mm.
I desired peace. Because of the trauma, I didn't trust anyone around me, family included. I didn't even trust my own self, my own decisions. But making that decision that I wanted more, I started with prayer and asking God for peace. And in the asking, you get these little nudges to go do this, or go talk to that person, or go do that. And in doing those nudges, following through with those nudges, I was able to get exposure to a world that I knew nothing about. And that's the world of affirmations. Speaking well about myself. Not one time prior to me understanding of what speaking well with the scripture is about, your life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Mm.
Speak those things that aren't as if they are, and I add to the end of that, until they are. I had heard it 100,000 times, but I didn't know what it meant.
Mm.
But in my quest for understanding, in my quest for the more, I started to learn things about speaking well about myself. And this is how it all started. Me learning how to speak well about myself, because being told that you're nothing, being told that you are. I was told by my former husband one time, and I'm so glad I can laugh about this because that's a clear sign that I have healed. He said to me, I don't know where you're going because you are unmarketable.
Mm.
Now, let's listen. Let's be clear. I didn't even know what he was talking about when he first said it, but it stuck with me. I'm like, unmarketable. Are you saying nobody else wants me?
Mm.
What? What? Are you kidding me? So I'm so glad I can laugh about it today, because it really does say how much I've healed. But those types of statements being told to you, and then too, growing up as a child, I was molested at a very young age. That took away from my confidence, and I never heard the words that you are beautiful, or you are smart, or you're intelligent, you're capable. None of those words that I hear. And no blame to my parents and grandparents. They were, listen, they were trying to put food on the table, let alone affirm me. But in me gaining understanding of the power of our words, I began to speak to myself well, speak to myself better. Because, even in our casual conversation, like, girl, you so stupid. You'll never catch me hear me saying that about myself, ever. You won't say, oh, girl, you're so dumb. Oh, you'll never hear me say that because I understand the power of the words that come from my mouth. It starts with a thought.
It does. It
It's,
does.
it starts with a thought. So if I'm speaking it, I'm thinking it. And if I'm speaking and thinking it, I'm doing it. That's how that goes as far as I'm concerned. I'm thinking it, I'm speaking it, and then I'm doing it. There's an action that goes with it. It's almost like it has to happen that way. Understanding the power of my words, I started using affirmations. And it was a thing, y'all, because I'm like, man, I got to say this every day. I wasn't really looking for the change. But once I got to the point of looking for that change and understanding the power of my words, I started to speak to myself better. I became very routine about saying my affirmations daily. And then it came twice a day. And then I put with it, I found out this process of doing mirror work. And I'm sure some of you may have heard about it. That's difficult because you literally are looking at yourself in the mirror and you're telling yourself all these wonderful things. And here is where the rubber meets the road. If you truly believe what you are saying, you are able to look at yourself in the eyes. Now, ladies, we are not judging ourselves with the freckles and the pimples and the this and the that. We're not looking at that. We're looking in our eyes, in the mirror. And we are saying those powerful statements to ourselves. And when you're able to do that without kind of side-eye yourself, you're like, I'm going to say it, but I'm going to look over here first. No, look yourself in the eye and say these things to yourself. And if there are any men listening, you too, I know what being a woman is like, so I kind of focus on that. But that's not to say men can't take advantage of this process as well. So in doing so, I was able to reclaim myself. I was able to reclaim myself. No. I was able to become a better me. I didn't want to reclaim what was, because what was a naive little girl who didn't know much.
Right.
But in my experience, I was able to uncover and become who I was then. A woman who had been through some things, who had learned some lessons about herself, some of the choices I made that attributed to my experience, because it's a two-way street, right?
It is. You gotta take, like, it's things happen to you, yes. But then there comes a time where you have to look inward because you can't change other people. You can't
Exactly.
change how other people operate or what they do.
Exactly.
You got to look inward to say, well, what could I have done differently?
Exactly. And no matter what it is, and
Forward.
some people may have a different opinion, but no matter what it is that you have experienced in life, is there something I could have done differently? Now, if the answer is no, it's no. But if you're honestly saying, and I know that I knew that I wasn't ready for marriage, but because society, tradition says you get pregnant, you get married. That's why I got married. Not because I was so madly in love, they had a dream and knew we could build a great, wonderful life together. Girl, I had no thoughts about that. I was told that we should be married. And that's why I got married, which is so the wrong reason to be married, especially when you don't have someone to model a good marriage for you and be a mentor to you, right? Or a coach. So with all that being said, let me get back to the question. I've become a better me. My children were able to experience a better version of me. My beautiful daughter, I have a daughter, her name is Shalonda. She said to me one day, she said, Mom, I am so very proud of you. And I'm going to try not to cry through this. She says, you are no way the woman you used to be about 10 years ago. So she watched me evolve and become into what I am today. And even with this opportunity to rebuild, to my second act, she's always reminding me, if I have a day where I'm not so enthusiastic, she'll remind me, Mom, you absolutely can do this. And so, having gone through all that, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Having not experienced and know what it is I truly desire out of life, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Having not experienced all of that, I wouldn't be able to share with another woman how she too can do exactly the same thing. I hope I answered your question. I get on tangents
You
sometimes.
did, you did. I have a question that's kind of on topic with what you were just talking about. So it's more so for generational insight.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you learned from your generation that you would advise the generation before you and after you?
Ooh, the generation before me. Tell us more. Tell us more. But you got to know in order to tell. I really wish the generation before me was a little more informed on mental health,
Mm,
a little more informed on what it truly means to be a woman outside of the physical part of us. Um, I think that would be the two main things I would tell them. I would love for them to have known. And the generation after me, um, I think I would want to tell them that just because you're young doesn't mean that you can't be taught something new. I think that's what I would tell them.
okay.
And to be kind and courteous. I see too often those that are younger than me. I experienced a young lady. I think she might have been in her 40s. And it appeared as though she was making fun of me because her and her friend were looking at me and kind of chuckling and laughing and pointing at my hair, I guess. I don't know. And I thought about it. I said, I wonder, have I ever been that person when I was in my 40s or my 30s, laughing at someone, making fun of someone older? I didn't take offense to it, but I thought about that. I said, now they're going to be in my shoes one day.
Hmm.
I wonder if they're going to have that experience themselves, because what you give out normally is what you get back. So thinking about that, I'm like, gosh, I hope I wasn't disrespectful to some older person, because maybe that was my karma right there. Maybe that was my karma right there. So I would advise the younger generation to know that when interacting with someone who's older than you, there really is a lot to gain from that, because that person that's older than you can offer you a perspective that you haven't had an opportunity to experience yet. So that's what I would say.
Yes, and I definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
We have two comments from Leslie. She said, "It's a shame that women are told that they are not anything unless attached to a husband. We need to do a better job of holding space for women to be authentic and getting pregnant without marriage."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a story I can share on that. In one of the churches I used to be a member of, there was a young lady that became pregnant. My second child, both my children were born out of wedlock, both of them. But this young lady, she became pregnant, and for some reason, someone took it upon themselves to tell her that I. This is church messiness. Tell her that I was talking about her. And the young lady finally had, I noticed her, her energy was a little different, but being younger, I didn't hold it against her, but she had the courage to come to me and say that I heard you said that you're talking about me because I'm pregnant. The first thing I did is gave her a hug. I said, please tell me, does that sound like something I would say? And secondly, how can I talk about you when you know that one, I was pointing at my little boy, came out of wedlock? I said, I wasn't married with him, so how am I going to talk about you? She said, I knew you didn't say that. I said, no, I did not. So, when these traditions, these expectations that people place on us really do carry anxieties. It carries a feeling of being less than, as Leslie said, because I'm not attached to a husband, it makes me less than. That is so not true. But you know what? Still today, that stigma exists. So I agree with you 1000%, Leslie. 1000%.
Yes. Um, I wanted to ask you a few questions about entrepreneurship and your
Yeah.
journey with that.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your business, how you got started, and what kind of inspired the entrepreneurial journey? I know you said a lot about you becoming the affirmation whisperer, and so
Yes. So the affirmation whisperer came out of my desire to share with the world the power of our words. And it started when I was on Clubhouse, and I'll be very transparent about that. Clubhouse, the app that's called Clubhouse, some of you may be familiar with it. Being around so many entrepreneurs, some of them were true entrepreneurs, most of them were true, some of them were just out to try and get money, okay? But just being on Clubhouse and being exposed to so many entrepreneurs and the different types of ways women were sharing, were serving, really prompted me to start my business and begin the brand of the affirmation whisperer. I do consultations for personalized affirmations. I have a whole product line. I have all of that. But it was spurred out of my desire, literally to share with everybody the power of your words, really understanding we have to guard our tongues. The Bible even tells us about guarding our tongue. We have to watch what we say about ourselves, about our business. Let me say this. If you are allowing anyone to talk negatively about your business, that's not your lane. That's not your lane, because that your business is your baby. You're bringing to the world what was birthed in you, what you have birthed, what was in you that you have birthed. It's like your child. You're not gonna let anybody talk bad about your child. You're gonna bop them in the head and say something about your child, right? Same thing with your business. So in doing so, me having a desire to share with the world the power of words, it also spurred me to encourage women who have to rebuild their lives, because I've done it twice for different reasons and evolved to a different version of me. I know how to do it, because I come across so many women that are so busy trying to do things, but they have not gotten their head together about themselves. Hence my book, The 90-Day Journal for Life Rediscovered. It's this book right here. Hopefully you can see it. This book right here, Life Rediscovered. This book was birthed out of me understanding that women have to heal from past traumas before they truly can commit to a business, truly commit to a relationship, truly commit to anything outside of themselves. So, in my desire to share the power of our words, in my desire to show women that you really can do it, my business was born. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It's not easy,
not at
and
all.
I'm sure you're finding this out too. But you know what? When you really believe in what it is you have to offer people, you're patient. You seize those opportunities that come your way, and you authentically serve. And as you continue to do so, and it may seem like you're not making impact, but y'all, let me tell you, if you're doing it in an authentic manner and you're using integrity in all that you do, people see you. And
Mm,
sometimes they just have to sit back and watch you for a little while just to make sure to vet you out, but people see you. Stay with it. If
mm,
it truly is what you believe you should be doing, stay with it.
that's a word right there.
Yeah, yeah, stay with it. So there you go.
Yes. So my next question for you is, what advice would you give someone looking to start their own business, especially with limited resources?
Mm, that's me. Limited resources. I'll say, first off, be very clear on what it is you want to do.
Right.
Be very clear. And even if you have to speak to someone, start with prayer. Pray about it. I'm gonna always say that. Pray about it. Get clear on what it is you want to do. And now, honestly, even with you getting clarity at that moment, as you grow, you have to get even more clarity on what's next. But that initially, when you want to first start, get clarity on what it is you need to do. And some will tell you, I've done it, so I can say this. Some will tell you just start dirty. I don't recommend that. I don't. And starting dirty, for who may not know, means just jump out there and start doing something.
Oh,
I don't
well,
recommend that. I don't
jump
recommend
off the porch with it.
exactly. I don't recommend that because I've learned having a firm foundation is very important to building your business. Do I regret it? Not necessarily regret it, but now that I know, I don't recommend it because you have find yourself having to go stop, go back and get some things taken care of, and then come back. And in that week, 2 weeks, a day, a month period, it's like, okay, I could have been here, but I had to stop to go back. Yes, it's a lesson learned, but I wouldn't recommend starting dirty. Get with a coach if you can. If
Or
you can't,
mentor.
yes, a mentor, someone that has done what you are trying to do, that can give you some great advice for you to then take action on. Do some research, go to some sessions on LinkedIn, on whatever place you of preference, to go and sit at the feet of somebody, listen to them. You do your own research and then go about putting all the pieces in place, because as you grow, because you have your foundation firm, you don't have to stop and pause and get that done and then come back again. It's already done. Someone asked you for this, you have it. They ask you for that because they want to plant a seed in your business, but you don't have your certification, you don't have your license, you don't have this number or that number. They can't help you. And it's like, okay, well, let me know when you got it and we'll see what we can talk about. And they've moved on. Whereas if you take the time to get that foundation firmed up, find out what you must do, get all that taken care of, and you might say, well, I don't have any money. Take your time. Take your time, build up your money, save your money, set it aside, and to get this done. But have it written down. What's first? What's second? What's third? You know what I mean? Have an order of what it is that needs to be done. So as money becomes available, then you can take care of that. And you may say, dang, it'll take me forever. I can say this, it is far better for it to take you a little bit longer. And when you do launch, you got everything in order, than to launch and you have nothing in order. And that was me. I had a name. That is it. State of Georgia had no idea I was doing business in the state of Georgia. So I had to stop and get certified with the state. And that took, but I know better. So I can tell you not to do that. At least I can say I don't recommend it. You do what you want to do, but I don't recommend it. Being an entrepreneur, if you're serious about being an entrepreneur, making sure you have your ducks in a row. So when that opportunity presents, and they ask you for this or they ask you for that, here it is. What email address should I send it to?
You got, I got something for that. If you are already prepared,
yes,
you don't have to get ready.
Yes, ma'am. Say that again.
But I do have another question about entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. How do you handle the financial ups and downs that come with running your own business?
Oh, I can tell you that one thing at a time. Being in the place that I am right now, I had to scale back on some of my services that were given to me. I had to scale back on them because I needed to take the funds and stretch them a little further. Was it disappointing to have to do that? Yes. But accepting where I am, doing what I can with what I have was very important, instead of trying to fake the funk. What? We're not doing that. We're not doing that, because when funds are low, but you really truly believe in what you're doing, believe it or not, money shows up. Money shows up. But just accepting where you are. If you need to slow down, if you need to press the pause button for a minute. I had projects that were in progress when some circumstances came about in my life. And I literally had to reach out to each of those sources and say, hey, this is what's going on. Let's press the pause button. Some of them I did. Some of them said, oh, no, we're going to keep going. We'll worry about the money later. But I'll tell you this, I believe the reason why those that were working with me were willing to continue is because I always do my best to operate in integrity, be honest about what I'm doing, honest about what's going on. And people are much willing to work with you than when you're trying to be something that you're not at the moment. Act like you got all this money coming in when you truly don't. And then when it all comes out, then people don't trust you.
Right.
And you don't have to give them all your business. You just say, hey, I've had a financial shift, so I need to make some changes. People understand when you're being honest and really, people know. They know the difference between somebody who's just trying to get out here and make $1 or somebody who's really out here trying to make a change.
Right.
And
Right.
when you're operating in integrity and you're being honest about what you're doing, people are much more willing to work with you. I've been able to continue things. I haven't had to stop anything. I did have to scale back on a few things, but everything is still moving forward. So
I
that's what
like
I would say.
that. Thank you for your transparency with that.
Yes.
So thank you. Um, I have some questions about empowerment and motivation.
Hmm.
What kind of inspired your transition into empowerment and motivation? Well, we really touched on that earlier, but
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing the need. And a lot of times I've heard this many times, and please forgive the background noise. The day that I try to open my windows and open the doors, that's when they want to try and do all the work out there. So please forgive the noise. Um, with all that I have to offer, the biggest piece of my offerings is motivational speaking and being a coach for women. Those two pieces are my pride and joy.
Mhm.
Because empowerment means sharing information with someone to empower them to then move forward, to
Mm,
not do it for them, because I can't do it for anybody. But can I mentor
so
and
true.
coach? Right? Can I mentor and coach? Absolutely. Can I give a speech that will motivate women to either tap into me more or to someone else where they can get their legs and get going? Being empowered, understanding that we really do already have it within us, what we need to do whatever it is we desire. I'll say that again. We already have within us what we need to do what it is we desire. It's just we don't believe it.
Mm,
We don't believe it.
it now you're saying something. You're saying something.
We don't believe it. But if
It's
I can offer
true.
a woman a perspective to look from, a different lens to see herself through, then she then can see herself doing more. There's this thing I used to say, I share the blueprint of my life with other women so they then can make that blueprint their own. They can customize. When you move into a house or you get ready to move into a house, they give you the layout, like, oh no, I want the bathroom over here. I give them my blueprint for them to take that blueprint and make it their own, to empower themselves to go about doing the things that it is they desire to do, and to finally see, wait, knew I could do this. That for me is like, yes, that's what I need you to do. I need you to see that you can do this, but with trauma, with life itself. So busy taking care of this person, the children, the husband, the house, the bills, being on the job. All of
You.
those layers can fog our view, where we just don't see us as we truly are, which are capable human beings. We were put here purposely for a purpose to fulfill. Now, I know you all have heard about those that are at the graveyard, that went to the graveyard with all that was in them still not being used. The first time I heard that, I'm like, oh, no, wait a minute, we're not doing that. Let
Yeah.
me get about it. But life happens, right?
Right.
But even with life happening, still knowing that I have it within me to do, have everything I need within me to do everything I desire. Knowing that, speaking that, and believing that empowers me to keep moving forward. This opportunity I have right now is an opportunity I've never experienced before. And you may say, well, Carol, what you talking about? What opportunity? I personally found I'm without a job right now. I never would have imagined January of this year that come August, September of this year, I would be without a job, but I am. I would be without a true solid plan. I am. But you know what? That does not change who I am and what I can do. That's just the circumstances around me. Who I am, I'm still who I am. What I can do, I still can do. And I do it with authority. I do it knowing that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. So empowerment truly comes from within. I just give women the tools to be able to tap in so they can get about what it is they're supposed to be able to do.
Okay, amen to that.
Yeah.
Um, can I ask you about your approach as the rebuild coach with helping individuals rebuild their lives and the setbacks as well as significant changes?
The first thing I tell is ask women is, do you have someone that you're talking to in the way of a therapist or of such? Because I am not a therapist. Nope, nope, nope. And if they don't, I have someone I can refer them to, because
Oh,
in the rebuild process, it really is an internal process more so than it is an external process. Dealing with past traumas, dealing with a divorce, dealing with financial uh, problems, all of that really is a work within the mind. So if
yes.
they haven't gotten with someone to talk, therapist to talk to, that is the first step that I really encourage them to get that done. Because no matter what I say to them, if they're not clearing that stuff out with a therapist, the work we do is temporary.
Mm,
It's temporary because the mind will take over if we don't have all of that stuff, not necessarily cleared out, but addressed and been given some therapeutic tools to be able to empower ourselves to move past those negative thoughts, move past the hurt of the trauma. As I said to you guys earlier, I can laugh about a lot of the experiences I had with my former husband, which is a true indication of my healing, because it doesn't hurt to think about that. I actually know that I've learned from it. So women getting a therapist to speak with, or someone they can speak to, doesn't it, maybe someone from your church or wherever, but someone you can trust that's really going to give you some solid information and advice. That's the first part. After that, getting a commitment from
you
the woman.
said therapist.
Yes, 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 yes. Speak to that therapist, please, please. After that, getting a commitment from the woman to go through the process with me actively, meaning that I cannot do this for you. This is something you have to do for yourself. I'm here for you. We check in, we talk about the process. What have you done? That process that was laid out for them. What have you done? What do you need help on? And moving through that on a timeline, right? And things happen. It's a flexible timeline. But that accountability, I believe, is very important, because again, I cannot do it for them. I can guide them through the process. But having that accountability and that commitment from them empowers them, not me. I'm
Right.
just sharing information. It empowers them. It keeps them committed to themselves.
Mhm.
I'm guiding them through the process. So that's a little bit about how I get them started into my coaching of them.
Okay, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I wanted to ask you some pillar questions about one about financial literacy. What's a financial tip that helped you grow and or sustain your business?
Mm. Prioritizing, prioritizing the expenses. Having I have a spreadsheet. I have my personal expense spreadsheet and I have my business spreadsheet of expenses, and prioritizing them, especially when you don't have a steady flow of money coming into your business, knowing what needs to be paid when, and is that truly something you need now, or is it just something nice to have?
Mm,
Prioritizing your expenses and really being honest about what you need to continue with your business or what's nice to have. And then having a financial advisor for your business, whether
ooh,
that be a CPA or whomever, just somebody that can financially advise you about your business so that you are paying your taxes like you should, when you should, when you have having all those pieces in place. And it varies per state and the type of business that you have. So having someone that can advise you through your finances, it would be the best recommendation I can make. And also, until you can get to that place of getting someone, prioritize your expenses. Treat your business money differently from your personal money. Always, always don't let the pot mix. That's a mistake I made. I 2 times I let my pot get mixed, and it took me a little bit of effort painful effort to get out of that. But now that I've learned from that, I do keep the money separate and operate them differently. The cards for the business never get used for personal, and so on and so forth. So prioritizing, knowing what needs to be paid first, what's a need and what's a nice to have, and then moving forward in that direction.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a key strategy or decision that significantly helped your business grow?
Ooh, partnering with the right people.
Oh,
Partnering with the right people. And one might say, well, how do I know who the right people are? Vet them out, pray about it, really ask questions. Let me tell you, that's the one thing I learned also as an entrepreneur, to ask more questions. Ask more questions and ask more questions until you get to a point of being comfortable. Because if that's the person you are to do business with, they won't mind you asking as many questions as you need to. They even will appreciate you asking questions. So partnering with the right people, learning from them, being able to collaborate too. That's also a way to grow your business. Even me doing this interview with Dr. Watts, it's a way for me to get exposure to others in her community that I don't have direct contact with.
that may
So
need your services.
exactly, exactly, and vice versa, because people from my community will see this and they'll say, Doc, let me see what this Dr. Watts does. Who is she? So that type of collaboration, partnerships and collaborations. I'm having an event here in Atlanta, the Circle of Strength Family Affirmation Workshop. This is myself and my partner, Clivia Allen. We're bringing this to the community. Now, we needed sponsorships. So we sent letters out to different ones that could support us in this effort, and the response has been amazing. That's another thing, getting sponsors to help you. They know what you do. They want to help you spread the word on what you're doing. That can be, a little tedious, but it's worth it. You may have to reach out to them a couple of times, but it's so worth it because they help you by giving you the financial support, sponsorship, and you then can do more for your event to extend it to even more people. So partnering, collaborations, reaching out to others in their community. Because I reached out to Dr. T. She put something out about affirmation. I said, oh, I need to get on her platform because she's talking my language now. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to reach out and say, hey, is there a way that I can be, on your platform, or we can work together? Don't be afraid. But before you make any moves, because know that I researched her page, know that I went to Facebook and see her page to see all these things before I reached out to her. So ask questions of the person or persons that you may be interested in doing business with. Partnerships and collaborations are hugely, hugely effective in you growing your business.
Okay, I love that. Thank you for that answer.
You're welcome.
Empowerment. How has entrepreneurship empowered you, and how do you empower others in your community and industry?
So my industry, I don't even know how to even put a label on what industry I'm in, other than women empowerment. I there was a time that I had a bit of a wall about affirmations, because when I began to share the power of words and affirmations with people, I would get this one particular response. I would get, oh, that's woo woo. I don't know about that. That's woo woo. So I was like, woo woo. What are you talking about? We're talking about the power of your words. So I really had to get past that and do what I know I was supposed to do. Share it with other people. Share the power. Because some people never heard of affirmation, and that shocks me. I don't know why I did, because I didn't know either. But it shocks me that some never heard of an affirmation before, a mantra, a power statement. Never heard of it before. So I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, because in the clubhouse room that I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6:30 a.m., I have hundreds of people that have given me testaments of how impactful that room was for them in learning more about themselves and learning how important their words are. When people are telling you how you are affecting their lives in a good way, that's a confirmation you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So with me continuing to do that and getting that kind of feedback, it fuels me. It empowers me to keep going. In the vein of women empowerment, when I get a woman that comes back and tell me, you literally saved my life,
Mm.
right? Like, hold on, that's a little too heavy.
Mm.
Too heavy that I saved your life, but it's true in how it was explained to me. You helped me to see me because I
Mm.
had lost me. She was just floating around and letting life just toss her back and forth. But she was able to push. She was there. I didn't do it for her. She did it herself. She put her feet on the ground, got grounded, and was able to then move forward. So, with me continuing to share the word about the power of our words, me continuing to pour into women, I empower them, and then they empower somebody else, and then they empower somebody else. The one thing I've said in my affirmation room is that you will never, if you're not able to measure the amount of people that you have impacted, you are impacting, because it's a ripple effect. If I empower you,
Domino effect.
you power someone else, and that person empowers someone else. That ripple effect keeps going and keeps going, and you will never see it end. You shouldn't see it end, because if it's a ripple effect, it's going to keep going long after you have taken your last, as it should be. That ripple effect should continue, and that's my goal, to continue that ripple effect, to pour into another woman, pour into another woman, speak to someone else about their words. And even kids, particularly kids, and yes, this is a plug, but this this book right here, The Power of Self-Talk, my children's affirmation book, is a parent, it's an adult and child activity book. This is where it starts. The foundation is with our children.
Is that your book?
Yes, it's,
Oh yeah, put that up. I need that for myself.
yes, ma'am. This
What's
is my
the link? Where's
maiden
the
voyage Amazon best-selling children and adult activity book. And what it is the power of self-talk, affirmations for children. But literally, it's a parent, as you can see, the family parent learns about affirmations, and then they have activities within the book to do things with their children. So we'll talk about you getting your copy, okay?
I need my copy.
Absolutely. But the reason why I brought this up is because if we can start pouring into our children,
That's where it starts.
let me tell y'all, talk about changing the world.
That's
You
it.
send your child off to school, and your child is able to say something to themselves to remind them that they don't have to worry about what someone says about them. Instead of getting engaged in a fight, they use the power of them words on themselves,
Mm,
so that
that's
they can choose to turn away from that. They can choose not to engage because they already know that they are capable, they are
out.
strong, they are intelligent, they are beautiful. Why? Because at home, which is where it starts,
Mm-hmm.
we are telling them how powerful they are. So me, this affirmation workshop that we're having on October 12th is huge for us, because we know within the confines of the family is where we really do learn to be who we be.
Right.
Within the confines of our family, we either learn to be empowered or destructive,
Mm.
confident or not. We learn it at home. I know I did. But knowing better now, it is part of my mission to share this with families so they can share it with their children. And the children can grow up to be amazing adults who don't need to tear another person down because they're already confident in who they are. So hopefully
Amen.
I answered your question.
You did.
Get
I
off track.
love that. I love that. This is gonna be my last question, and
Yes,
then we're
ma'am.
gonna be wrapping up.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, kind of have two more, but I
Okay.
wanted to discuss your long-term goals and what you kind of envision for your business, your career, and your impact for the future.
My long-term goal is to get on many stages. My long-term goal is to get on many stages in different industries to speak to women, because I know it's important. As much as much progress as we've made as a gender, there's so much more progress to be made. However, even with that, we have to learn who we are for ourselves. We can't let someone else tell us who we are. The
Mm.
world is busy telling us that, oh, you're just a woman, or you're just a black woman, or you're just a white woman. So busy telling us who we are. We need to be able to tell ourselves that. And I want to get on more stages to
Mm.
share this with more women. This 90-day journal, I want to get this book in as many women's hands as I possibly can, because I know the effect.
1 o'clock.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, that was my computer.
Oh, no worry. I know the effectiveness of this book. I know that it can empower women. So getting on stages, spreading the word with more people is my long-term goal. My business just to grow, my brand to grow. I'm about to start working with a branding agent to rebrand and get my brand out there differently and even in a bigger way. But we all have to start somewhere. But that is my biggest goal. My long-term goal is to get on more stages. My right now goal is to get these books into as many hands as possible. I have candles, I have t-shirts, all of it with the messaging of the power of our words. So that will be the way I respond to that question.
Okay, thank you. And so, where did you say we can find the books?
Oh, on
Mer-
my website. My website. I don't, because I can't see the screen. I don't know how to put it in the chat. But if
What
you
is
put
it? I put it in the chat right
yes, pin my website. My website has all of my products there, even the offer to do some custom affirmations, personalized affirmations for you. All of that is there. If you want to secure me for a speaking engagement, you can just send an email to the affirmation whisperer at gmail.com, and we can set up a chat to talk. And yeah, that would
What-
be it.
What's your website name?
It's the affirmationwhisperer.com. It's WHISPERER, whisperer.
That's exactly where I was stuck at too.
Yeah.
Right there. All right, boom. So that information is right there. Um,
Hmm.
and thank you. I just wanted to thank you again
You're
for
welcome.
coming on my platform today and having this discussion with me. It was much needed, and I thank you so
Yes.
much for that.
You're
I also
welcome.
want to thank Leslie George for coming in, Kim James for tuning in.
Thank
And
you.
then I also had a lot of people tune in on Instagram. There's like Aaliyah, Matthew, David, Auntie Novia, King Lamont,
Thank you.
yes, Tabitha, all of that.
Yes. Oh, you know what? Also, did they go to my profile on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram? My website is there as well, so they're welcome to click the link there. And if they are in the Atlanta area, please check out my link for the affirmation workshop that's happening on October 12th. It is a no cost to you event. So we are welcoming anybody and everybody that are interested in learning about the power of their words. So please feel free to check that out, share it, because we want to get the word out.
Yes, okay, all right. I'm trying to come to that too.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
that's going to be it for
Well,
today.
thank you again. And I look forward to doing this again and with other people too, to just get this word out to everybody. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.